North to South Africa, East to West Africa, TOS TV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOS TV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
The first panel focused on the involvement of youth, women, and persons with disabilities' active participation in governance.
Let us have the provision of the rights of child as a fundamental human right in our Constitution. Basic rights to education, right to parental care, right to freedom from exploitative labor. Just think about that. We need that as a fundamental right. And then the basic right to economic empowerment generally. And then the youth part, when it comes to inclusion in government. We need to start seeing a government that truly reflects what the society looks like.
I believe the president could lobby the National Assembly and probably send in an executive bill that will have the National Assembly create some sort of referendum in the Constitution. So when these committees are created, the law will give powers to whatever reports that they are, the resolutions that they create, to make it law, to probably overhaul this thing we call a constitution.
You see, you can't give what you don't have, and we want leaders who will, who have capacity to be able to lead us. Education is key, and as it is today in our constitution, having a school start or primary 6 is completely abysmal, and we should throw that section completely away, and it should be redefined. So having leaders who have capacity, who are educated, people who know that they are there to serve, people who have proven track records are the types of people that we want to see lead us.
We have a government that is repeatedly telling us that they are reintegrating repented Boko Haram members into our societies. And yet, people are still locked up in correctional facilities across the country because they stood up to demand for their rights.
The second panel focused on media leadership and civil society.
I'd like for you to share with us three top specific skills or competencies you would like the people to know about. These competencies are needed for anyone who is going to play a leadership role at whatever level. And you are committed to ensuring that the people of this country are aware of these critical skills.
I see our society as one that thrives on Western plural democracy, which was designed outside and brought to us. Forced down on us, we accepted it, we are practicing it. That democracy is all about processes. It's just like a means to an end. The essence is in the operation. Every structure, every institution playing its role. And it's a system of checks and balances. Within the government, you have the three arms that are bound to check and balance each other. In our own context, they have failed woefully to do that. Instead of checks, we are seeing connivance, we are seeing collaboration, not for positivity, but for negativity. Oversight in the National Assembly, compromise. Instead of serving as check and balancing each other, they appear to connive to indeed take away what belongs to the people. That leaves the civil society and the media as the gatekeepers now. So those practicing these, applying their trade in the civil society and the media are now forced to indeed come up with some leadership where institutions have failed. They are supposed to provide the leadership, check those in power, those in government. And from what we have seen in Nigeria, it's not been very, very positive, though they have made a lot of progress. I see the civil society, for instance, I'm indeed in the middle of very two active civil society practitioners in Nigeria, those that have put a lot of efforts in place. I have not seen the civil society grow and develop since 1999 the way it should be. We have seen limitations. We have seen a few of them, like I mentioned, thrive, but the bulk have been captured, unfortunately, due to several reasons. We have not seen a civil society that have grown. We say a civil society that tackled military dictatorial government that ruled by decrees. We have not seen a civil society that will check tyrannical democratic government. It's less. A tyrannical dictatorial government is different from a tyrannical democratic government. We see political parties register civil society. We see individuals register civil society, limiting and closing the civil society space to the extent that the few that are thriving, their voice may not be loud enough. Same with the media. Most media houses are established by politicians. So just like in civil society, what they have learned in the civil society media space are a registering civil society. The media has tried to do the functions as enshrined in Section 22 of our Constitution with varying success. If not for the for the new media, you can imagine where the mainstream media would have found itself. It would have gone straight right into the problems the civil society has found itself. So to link up with what you have, the question you threw, where they have the operators of civil society and the media have struggled to really understand what is going on. They have tried to up their game, showing leadership skills in carrying out their function in a most pressurized environment, while also recognizing that they need to up their game, do more against the failure of state institutions and structures. Thank you.
In today's Nigeria, it's a crime to be silent. You know, things are really bad, and the only tool that is meant to guarantee equity, justice, and fairness, which is our Constitution, does not meet the test of time. Sadly, today, civil society and the media is playing the role of government. Because just imagine that we take away intervention from the Northeast today. What would happen to the people in Borno, in Adamawa, in Yobe, in Bauchi? And I like the fact that you talked about a system that is corrupt and that is also prone to corrupt the people in the civil society and the media space. And I will try to call a spade a spade. Today, the media frames narrative and set agenda, if you like it or not. Whatever the media puts, that is what citizens would debate. Yes, sometimes they take what citizens are saying, but most time, the media sets that narrative and agenda and inform the public to engage. And when you tie this to the People's Constitution and the vulnerability of civil society leaders, yes, we are vulnerable. A lot of us have been bribed. You know, a lot of us have been enticed. You know, this is just the reality. There is also the economic implication. I'm trying not to offend my colleagues in the media, but there is the brown envelope syndrome. You know? So when we talk about the People's Constitution, and we are the people, but is our Constitution actually protecting us as citizens and ensuring equity, fairness, and justice? No. But the actors they're legitimate, because you cannot take legitimacy from the governors, from Mr. President, from our National Assembly members. You cannot. The electoral process have given them legitimacy. So when we say we want a People's Constitution, it is now time for that same people to ensure they use the legitimacy that they have given to our representative. My colleague have said there 0.0005. How? We must play politics. Yes, I'm a civil society leader, but each and every one of us must play active politics. Be it media, be it civil society and the people. I'm not saying that we all should run for office. Get me right. By the way, we all can't run for office. And even all of us, if we run, not all of us would win election. But we must deliberately and intentionally play politics. Because the People's Constitution would not come if you don't play politics. And power only listens to power. My brother, you say you ran in 2015 or 2019 election. Power only listens to power. So how can we ensure that when we want people or the government to listen to us, you have to come with what the language they understand, which is power. But how do you get power? You must stand united and speak with one voice. And I can give you a couple of examples. How did we get the Not Too Young to Run law? You think it's just by advocacy and all the protests we had? No. You must mobilize power. My people, I think we need to stop speaking all this English so that people would see that they are vote buying and vote selling. The man would not see because, Oga Linus, you're speaking foreign English. We must start speaking the language people at the grassroots understand. Because if we want to negotiate power, we must understand and take the power to the people and tell them that the legitimacy belongs to you and the true power actually belongs to the people. If we understand that as a people, getting the People's Constitution will be icing on the cake. Because honestly speaking, this National Assembly would not give you the People's Constitution. You are trying to tell them that they should cut the cost of governance. You're trying to tell them that they should bring in place what would not guarantee their return to the National Assembly. And by the way, there are 3 ways we can get this People's Constitution. My media aide has warned me not to be controversial, but we must speak truth to power. The first way, if Mr. President wants to have a legacy and then sponsor an executive bill and have it deliberated at the National Assembly and it's passed and he commits to sign. The second is if the National Assembly on her own bring forward a constitution after conversation and deliberation across the 6 geopolitical zone and it's passed into law. But then you need the judiciary because as humans, we must always test the law. True or false? We must test the law. So you need the judiciary to interpret these laws that would be brought forward rather. And lastly, there are consequences to this. Nothing comes easy. We can either have a peaceful people's constitution or we'll have a violent people's constitution. And this is just the simple truth. Our current power brokers only listens to violence. I always try to preach peace. For us to prosper, it's important to remain peaceful. But if we need the People's Constitution, I think that in the spirit of putting Nigeria first and our selfish and personal interest back, is for us, this generation, to fight for the generation after us so that they can enjoy this People's Constitution. So it's either when we go to that table and we negotiate peacefully, if they don't listen to peace, I believe that as a citizen, we must look at how they would listen and we bring about this People's Constitution. But please, let's continue to be peaceful. But there is a price to pay.
I'm not going to give ourselves the responsibility on speaking on behalf of every Nigerian, whether in civil society or in the media, but we're just representatives, or maybe media and CSO, we're maybe facilitators. And the point that I'm trying to make is that the most important people in the room today are not the men, and unfortunately there are no women on this panel today, that are sitting up here. The most important people in the room today is everyone that is sitting in the audience, because that's the people. And it is a people's constitution that we want to see. So it's a constitution that belongs to you. It's a constitution that belongs to me. But for us to get that people's constitution, there are some things that we must do, and it is very important. And one, and I think it was the High Commissioner from Canada that mentioned it, and he said it's the leadership selection process. If you have read a book by Chinua Achebe, which was written almost 40 years ago, and it's called The Trouble with Nigeria. And let me summarize what Achebe said in the book. And he said, the trouble with Nigeria is simply and squarely a failure of leadership. So our leadership has failed, and no offense to our leaders. You have failed, and it was Chinua Achebe that said it many years ago. So don't quote me and say it is Ibrahim Farouk. Thank you very much. But what must we do to change that? The previous panel said one of the first things that we must do is to get involved politically. First of all, it is to register, come out and vote. When you register, INEC has made it easy. You can register online, right? But also go to the INEC office, complete your registration, and then in 2023, come out and vote. You might ask me the question, who am I going to vote? And I think Linus has referred to that, is we must find leaders who have competence, who have character, who have vision, who have integrity, who understand history. And I'm going to just dwell on this point around history for a bit, because if we do not recognize the mistakes that we have made in the past, we are bound to repeat it. We have had a constitution development process from the 1950s, from our pre-independence, and we are here 21 years after we returned to a democratic rule, saying how can we get a people's constitution? The mistakes that we had made in 1998 and 1999 when we were giving ourselves this constitution, we cannot afford to make those same mistakes. There is a constitution amendment process that is going on. And if I was going to ask and say how many of us participated in that process, we must change those mistakes. We must correct those mistakes, and we cannot continue to repeat them. Even if we do not participate in that process, the National Assembly is here with us in Abuja. You can go there, you can get in. Sometimes it's hard to get access, but you'll go to the gates, they might collect your phone, give you a pass. But go and find who are the members of the constitution review process. What are those issues that affect you? What are those issues that affect me? And let us get them changed. Malam Hamza spoke about the Not Too Young to Run bill. And what I like about that thing is that it shows us that it is possible to change our constitution. It is possible for us to get a constitution that is a constitution of the people. Do not let anyone tell you that it is too hard, it is too impossible, it cannot be done. And I can tell you for a fact, because together with my brother and my friend Hamza, we marched, we rallied, we stayed up all night, we strategized, we made phone calls, we sent emails, we mobilized, we organized to get the constitution amended, to get a constitution that reflected what us, the people of Nigeria, wanted to see. Citizens of Nigeria, we can do it. The People's Constitution is a constitution that we can get and a constitution we must get, and the process has started now.
The kingdom of politics in Nigeria has suffered from all sorts of inadequacies. And if we must alter it, then only the violent, the most organized, and those who are prepared can actually take it and do it better. I decided to premise my contribution on this for people to understand that nothing good comes easy. And I will respond before I go further to Dr. Amechi and the representative of Governor Kogi. First, we do not need more civil society people. What we need more are informed, active, and engaging citizens, not more of activists. If we have that critical mass of Nigerians who are informed, active, and engaging, we will not be where we are today. So the governor of Kogi State, when he came on board, he didn't ask that those vehicles that he made be refurbished for him to be using. He ordered to buy new cars and new vehicles. The Constitution of Nigeria can be likened to a mechanical device. The Constitution of Nigeria can be likened to an organism. One thing people must know is this: when we are doing our research next time, thank God you said somebody into research, we must also look at other climes in which some of these things have been done. I'm laying a template. Because if we do not do those critical things, there are also other options. Today, our nation has attained a stage where people no longer have a belief in this nation. We are in a dire strait, and we are fast losing Nigeria. And except we act like the benefit of what we stand to read from this symposium today and act on them, we may not have Nigeria in the next few years.
Members of the audience were also allowed to contribute to the conversation.
We are responsible for our problem. I'm telling you honestly, because we are greedy. In our days before independence, Nigeria used to be our constituency. But now they say, this one Hausa, this one Igbo, this one Yoruba. You start your rubbish tribal sentiment. Look, let me tell you, in my village we are swimmers. If we swim and come to the middle of the river, you want to drown, you come back. You see Nigeria, it must be won by force.
We spoke about local government autonomy. How about the State Independent Electoral Commission? That should be scrapped from the Constitution because the governors control the State Independent Electoral Commission. Then secondly, the tenure of our executive and legislators. For instance, the governor can come only twice, the president the same thing. But for the legislators, they can come, some have spent 20 years, 24 years. There should be a limit to that. And for the executive, let's say just one tenure of 5 years. After that, you don't come back again.
My concern in the Constitution is the provision of Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which is non-justiciable. I think the Section 6 sub C of the Constitution was actually the section that made it not justiciable. And there are beautiful provisions in Chapter 2 of the Constitution. An example of it is Section 15 sub 5, which states that the state shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. I feel that they purposely made it not justiciable. Though we see that lawyers lay claim from the African Charter, which was domesticated, but the Constitution itself should not stifle the provision of itself.
That's it for today's episode. Do follow us on social media at TOSTV Network, at Osasu Show, at the Osasu Show on Instagram, Facebook, and other social media handles. To be a part of the Osasu Show Foundation through volunteering or donating, you can find all the details on the screen. Stay up to date on our website to read the communique from the 5th edition of the Osasu Show Symposium. That's www.tostvnetwork.com. On there, you could also find news and sustainable development and current affairs across Africa. All right. COVID-19 is still out there. Keep washing your hands, keep wearing your face mask, and keep practicing social distancing. God bless you all. See you next week. North to South Africa. East to West Africa. TOSTV Network is your digital-first Pan-African news network, bringing you news from across the continent. Visit our website www.tostvnetwork.com and follow us on social media at TOSTV Network on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.